Now, we're pretty stuffed after that delicious pasta, Dean. It was absolutely lovely earlier. There's always time, though, for a dessert when Dean Diplock from the Radisson Blu Hotel in Athlone is in the kitchen. You're doing a traditional one for us today.
Well, traditional-ish. There's always a twist to it. I'm also putting a little bit of pear into it. But this pastry I was telling you guys about is from a friend of mine, of my mom's in South Africa. Her name's Rachel Vermeulen. She owns a home industries shop where people bring in their homemade products and they sell them from the shop. She does a lot of baking herself. And she showed my mom this recipe now, and it can be done in savory as well. You just replace the sugar with a strong cheddar cheese. And it's perfect for a quiche base. And now she's baking crazy.
All the way from South Africa then.
All
so
the way
it's
from
an
South
apple
Africa.
crumble with a South African twist.
Correct. So I have butter, 1 egg. In goes the brown sugar. You can use white sugar. There's no reason you can't. And then a little bit of vanilla essence. And then using a stick blender, we quickly blitz that up. That's just softened butter. I popped it in the microwave just for a few seconds.
Salted?
Salted, yes, salted butter. You can use unsalted. There's no reason you can't. There's no issue, because I'm going to put salt into the flour anyway. So excuse the noise. Just set that aside. Okay. And in a mixing bowl.
This is plain flour?
This is plain flour. I'm just putting this mixture in so we can mix it easily with the fork into the bowl first. So set that aside. And in that, my flour, plain flour, a pinch of salt, as I said earlier, and some baking powder. So baking powder and a pinch of salt. That goes straight over the top of it.
All the details on the recipe on the website,
on the website, as always.
So if you want to catch up on all Dean's lovely recipes.
While that's getting warm, I'm going to put the sugar in here quickly. This is for the filling. I just want to get this started while we're cooking away.
So sugar straight onto the pan?
Straight with a little bit of butter and then some caramel syrup.
Ooh, now.
Quite tasty, so let that go away. And then using a fork, we just bring the pastry together, mix it through.
How does the caramel syrup differ from your ordinary golden syrup that
this particular, it's lighter. You could use maple syrup as well. It's lighter, but it gives you that lovely, rich caramel taste. So once we bring all this pastry together, we wrap it up in some cling film, and we pop it in the fridge, give it a few hours to solidify, and it's hard like that. You should get about...
Comes out like that.
Amazing. Just push together, pop them in the fridge, and off you go. Do work with it when it's cold. It's easier to work with it then. We'll get stuck into that in a second. Let me just carry on with this.
So is this a crumble or a tart?
This is a mixture of both. It's technically a crumble because we're going to crumb on top of it, but the base of it ends up being like the base of a tart. The nice thing about this is a no-roll pastry. So you just grate it and press it down, and you're ready to go, which is why it's so simple.
Yeah.
All right, so that's going. I'm going to pop in some raisins or sultanas, whichever you have, some lemon zest, a little bit of lemon juice. Bring that together. Excellent. The quintessential cinnamon.
Yeah.
Must have a little cinnamon in there. It is apple pie, wouldn't be apple pie without cinnamon, honestly. Well. That goes in there. Right. And over here I have just some cream. I'm going to put in some corn flour.
So we're still on the filling now?
We're still on the filling, yeah. The pastry's done. We're going to show you how the pastry gets put together. In that goes some custard powder. Again,
it's going to be a nice, oozy, creamy...
This is going to thicken up the apple itself. So the filling is going to be thickened now with the cornstarch and the custard. When we put the apples into it, the apples are already cooked. They've come tinned. Tinned pear, which I've cut to about the same size and just drained.
Right.
Tinned, absolutely. You can use fresh. It will take a longer time to cook, however.
Gotcha.
So in goes our cream mixture, and you'll see that'll immediately start thickening up. Because everything's cooked, all we're trying to do is bind it.
Bind it all together.
Bind it all together. So let's leave that for a second. And I'm going to then show you how this pastry is done. So here is one that I've started, but not quite finished yet. I prepared earlier, as they say.
Intrigued by this grating business.
So you take your pastry.
Is this the twist that your
This is the difference,
friend?
one of the many twists. So quick grate, like so. Set that aside. And you literally...
Why is this different, or how does this differ from rolling it out?
This is easier. This is mistake-free. You can, if you got a gap, press it in. Yeah. There's no issue with it. As you work with it, your fingers will start melting the butter, and it'll become easier to work.
Gotcha. Easy as pie.
Easy as pie, literally. All right, that's come together nicely. In goes our apples and our pears. And we just mix them through.
Coming up to time, Dean.
No problem. So, we'll have it done in a second. Right, when that's done, right at the end, you will have a mixture like this that we can cool down. In goes our eggs.
Okay.
Eggs mixed through it into our pastry. Like so.
As you said earlier, that can be a quiche base as well.
It could be a quiche bake. You could make the savoury, yes, absolutely. And then once again, our pastry, which we've done previously, I showed you. You can just grate over it.
And here's your crumble bit, because you've got the...
This is where the crumble bit comes in, and you can literally just grate it over.
Grate away.
Like so.
Do you want to completely cover?
You do want to completely cover it, otherwise it will burn. So, as usual, set that aside.
Yeah.
Dean has one
That's
made.
Completely covered?
Completely covered. Okay, pop it in the oven, 180 degrees Celsius, and you bake it for about an hour. It does need about an hour. Yeah.
180.
There it is. That's what I'm looking for. And when she's baked...
That looks amazing.
That's what she looks like.
That looks absolutely sensational.
So, I have another one running in the background there.
Just in time.
Just in time, just in time. And we can dish some
up. Spoon there.
Now, I would classically serve this with ice cream, but unfortunately, coming halfway across the world, the ice cream would have melted by the time I got here.
Athlone to Dublin.
I'm serving it with custard and whipped cream.
Custard and cream.
Pop some on there and give that a taste.
Please, yes.
There's a spoon for you over there,
You're
Anna.
very generous with your portions, Dean.
Well, got to feed you people.
Yeah.
Y'all are too skinny.
This is all we have to eat all week.
It's terrible. So early in the morning as well.
Taste.
This is real comfort food, Dean, isn't it?
Have a taste. Have a taste. You can't go wrong with it. It's not too sweet. I don't like a sweet pastry, and it's not too sweet a dessert either. Balances very nicely.
Lovely, crumbly top. Exactly. Brilliant stuff, Dean.
So easy
this morning. All Dean's recipes up on the website. Check them out there. Up next, we're talking to author Melissa Hill about what may be her most controversial book to date. Stay with us.